course, Zambula, with the commencement of People's Voice program after the elections, we'd like to extend a warm welcome to all our viewers. The discussion's topic for tonight is what next for political parties? Are they going to continue functioning or will remain dysfunctional after the elections and then get ready for the next elections sometime in 2018? Are they still going to function despite lots of challenges that they face? These are some of the areas that we would like to touch. And as you have already watched or witnessed what kind of discussion we had in our Dzongkha session, some points we might continue to discuss based on the significance of the issue itself, and some we would like to start afresh from what we have already, we would like to take up from what we have already discussed in our Dzongkha session. With this, we would also like to extend our services to the participants who would like to join this discussion through telephone calls. If you are to participate in this discussion, you can introduce yourself and be specific to the topic that we are having for our discussion tonight. With this, let me introduce my guests here. From Bhutan Kunyam Party, I have Honorable President Mr. Sonam Topge, and from Druk Changa, I have Honorable Member of Parliament Mr. Kingasering, and from Druk Changa, I have Honorable President Amlili Wangchuk, and finally from People's Democratic Party, I have Mr. Sonam Jamso, who is the Secretary General of People's Democratic Party. So, Bhutan Kunyam Party, as already discussed, what next? Are you going to continue functioning as a political party, or will you cease to function and then suddenly wake up by early 2018 and get ready for the elections?
Yes. Before I answer your question, let me quickly steal a few seconds in terms of really congratulating the new ruling government, PDP, and the opposition, DPT, for having successfully completed the general round of elections, and we wish you all the best in terms of providing your best services, taking care of the interests, and fulfilling the aspirations of our general public. Having said this, I would also like to convey a good evening to the supporters of BKP, particularly who are all out there watching us, and of course to the entire public at large. Having said this, for Bhutan Kunyam Party, there is no doubt that the party will not function as it should function for the next 60 months, so to speak. We have a full-fledged secretariat functioning. I hold largely main responsibilities within the party, and I think it is very critical for all political parties to be actively engaged for the next 60 months, being able to participate in policy decisions, being able to contribute in our small little ways, both in support of the ruling as well as the opposition. Now, having said this, it is also very difficult on the ground in terms of really having the secretariat function, particularly because of resource constraints. One being funds, and two being organization, and three being a cadre of committed people trying to support the party in terms of ideas, in terms of organization, in terms of research, so on and so forth. In addition, I also like to put on record by informing the larger audience out there that it is the responsibility for each and every one of us, all the citizens, to be able to engage and affiliate or associate with a particular political party in terms of giving support, both finance, ideas, time, so on and so forth, as compared to having a huge amount of social inertia during the election period. And once the election period is over, there's a lot of political apathy. So if these things happen, then you would have sufficient reasons for political parties to fade away. So I think that we need to be watchful. Otherwise, Kenya would really want to contribute in our own little ways, try to further the process of democracy, process of giving more choices to the people, and we'll be able to try to see how best we can contribute both in support of the ruling as well as the opposition.
Yes, sir. Before I move on to the two older parties, what about Druk Changa?
Yes. I would also like to take this opportunity to express our Tashidilek to both People's Democratic Party and Druk Changa Party in forming the ruling government and the opposition party, and the Election Commission of Bhutan for having successfully conducted the parliamentary elections. Druk Changa has been formed not just to contest in the 2013 elections, but we have been formed with our motivation to serve the Sawasum with utmost dedication and loyalty. And we may not have performed well in 2013 election because of number of challenges that were that the party had faced. But we are there to stay, and we look forward to working closely with both the ruling government and the opposition. We will continue to be the voice of the section of the society that believe in us. We will continue to stay politically active, socially engaged, and wherever possible, whenever there are opportunities for us to work with both with the ruling and opposition, we do hope that there would be opportunities where we will continue to stay engaged on a number of issues of national importance.
Yes, sir. Druk Changa, politically active and socially engaged. Are you going to do this? Are you going to continue with this logo or theme? Because you have no choice but to function as an opposition. And when you function as an opposition, you have to maintain that party's continuity as well.
Yes, thank you, Dawala. And I would like to also extend a warm welcome to all our colleagues here from the other parties and for this opportunity to join BBS in this particular forum. I think just like the other parties, for Phimsum Sokpa also, this party is based on grassroots support which has come from all the villages, from all the chioks, from all the gyoks. So I think the party machinery is very important to be politically active in terms of policy formulation, dissemination, also legislation. And then also I think to be socially engaged, as Lily has shared, because after the party has been formed, I think especially for Phimsum Sokpa, I think we owe whatever we have achieved in terms of being the previous government as well as the present opposition party to the party workers, to the Sokpas, which is 20 Dzongkha coordinators, 47 constituency coordinators, and beyond that the Chiok level, and then also a lot of people at the various community levels who are very actively participating in the process. And when you look at it actually, now with our new and very important mandate and role as the opposition party, we are actually also looking ahead on how to sort of make sure that this structure, which is not actually a formal structure as such, because I think in the earlier session also our colleagues have shared, it requires a lot of resources, it requires a lot of financing. Just to have the Dzongkha coordinators for a year, it will cost you about 5 to 6 million, and I think that is a lot of money. But rather I think we are depending on the voluntary participation of the people at the grassroots level, and I think that's important because people need to identify themselves with political party groups, and then also not only that, the voters also need to see at the microcosm level. I mean, at the national level, yes, they have the opportunity to vote once in 5 years, but other than that, they need to be able to see what the party represents at the local level and whether their voice has been heard at that level, and then how it subsequently is carried on at the national level. And I think that chain of party structure is very essential for us to maintain, and of course currently that is a challenge. But nevertheless, I think I would take this opportunity to acknowledge the extensive effort and the passionate work that has been put in by each and every supporter, not only for Phimsum Sokpa, but we see that once we go to all the villages for all the parties, whether it's PDP, Chirong, or Phimsum Sokpa, I think that level of passion is there at every grassroots level. So for us, I think it's very important that we maintain that momentum and keep the passion going.
Yes, sir. Even for People's Democratic Party, you have no choice but to make your party function because you have formed the government, and then by default or by design, you should ensure that your party functions as it is required by the law. But you also have challenges against you. You also have limitations like what the other colleagues have mentioned about lack of resources, how we are going to pull in resources. State funding is one issue that cropped up on several occasions, starting from 2008 till 2013, but that did not come through. Now, how are you going to maintain that continuity?
First of all, I would like to thank the people of Bhutan for giving us this precious opportunity, the honor and privilege to serve the Tsawa Sumla. From our side, we will do everything possible. We will work hard with humility, with compassion, and with integrity to earn your support, to continue to earn your support, to continue to earn your goodwill and trust. That said, we see that Bhutan has a promising future. At the same time, we have many challenges. And when we look at it as a party, we see that these challenges cannot be met by just one party or just by few people. And now this election process is over. Now I think what's important for us is to look at the nation and look at the nation's interest. Because more than anything, like more than the party interest, more than the individual interest, it is the nation that has to succeed first. And then only we can succeed as individuals, as parties. So I think we have to all come together. Like when I look at my colleagues here, they're all friends. We are all school friends. We're all very good friends. And in that way, I think we have to come together now to serve this nation in whatever capacity we can. With regard to the election process, in a competitive democracy, the election process can be very painful, can be very divisive. But then once that process is over, then we have to come together. That's how we can make democracy work for us. This election process, even though it's divisive, even though it's very ugly, it is a necessary evil to elect the people's government. We have to understand that this is just a process. What is ultimately important is that our country and our people, our Tsawa Sum, moves forward and creates a better future for all. So,
but sir, will it be in the interest of the nation, or will it be in the interest of the public to make the parties continue functioning as a party?
Yeah, I'll come there. Because for us as a ruling party, we have to make sure that we thank our people for giving us this opportunity, and we have to show that to the people, I think. As far as the party is concerned, we've gone through a terrible experience in 2008 after the elections. We were down, we had nothing. All we had was a huge debt. And even then, we all came together. Few of us came together and said, we have to survive. We have to keep this party alive. And we volunteered. And myself, I worked as the Secretary General on a voluntary basis because we saw that need for the party to be there, the structure to be there. And now, as the ruling party, we have to ensure that we have the party structure intact. Just now we have, for us, the most important priority is to form that government. And we have spent a lot of time doing that because we want to form a government which is not a PTP government, but a government of all the people in Bhutan, to bring the people together. And that, because as I said earlier, that's the only way we can move forward. But now, coming this week, we are going to discuss among ourselves as to how we are going to keep the party structure together, how far we can go. Do we need to keep the GEO coordinators? Do we need to go all the way down to the CHIO coordinators? All these things will be discussed, and what kind of activities we will carry on. So those things will come. We attach a lot of importance to that because we have to build that institution to remain as a party in the long run.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. We have our first caller online. Hello. Our first caller online, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, Kusambo, Mr. Dawa.
Kusambo, sir, please introduce yourself, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Dawa. I'm Mr. Penjola from Bumdang.
Yes, sir.
And I'm a concerned citizen of Bhutan. And my question is for PTB, General Secretary.
Yes, sir.
My question is about the election 2013.
Well, sir, Mr. Penjo,
my question is
Mr. Penjo, if you are going to talk about the election process, electoral process of 2013, or if anything to do with that, I think the topic for tonight's discussion is confined to what kind of political party structure that is going to continue, or what is going to be the next move of our political parties devoid of elections. That's the topic we have for discussion. If you're going to talk anything about the past elections, then I'm afraid we cannot offer you this opportunity.
No.
This is not the right
mine
forum.
is like starting from 2013, because I just want to introduce, because 2013 we have just started a new election, and I just want to congratulate the new government.
Yes,
That's what I'm going to say. Now my question is like now we have 4 or parties more, like we
5
have
parties.
Nyamru Chokpa,
In fact, we could not have Druk Changa here.
Yes, like everybody is there. So my question is like now about the BDB is our new government governing party more. So I want to congratulate them, and also the DBT also because they are opposition party. So I want to congratulate them also. But the fact is.
Hello. Okay, thank you so much. We lost our caller without having completed his question. Bhutan Kinyam Party. Now, talking about the limitations that you are coming across. In 2008, we have had 2 parties, as mentioned by the General Secretary of People's Democratic Party, who had nothing but debts, huge debts. What about your party? Have you incurred debts as much as the 2 other older parties have incurred in 2008?
Well, to be very honest, we have not a single penny as debt to Bhutan Kinyam Party's accounts. In fact, we were quite comfortable with a total bank account of 12 lakhs. But it was unfortunate we couldn't participate in the primary round, but nonetheless, we shall regroup ourselves and come back in 5 years from now. So for the record, we have no debts, and we don't intend to have debts.
Yes, for continuity?
Yes, so now for the parties, including BKP, to sustain, I do not totally agree that funding is the sole and prime factor.
Yes.
Funding is very important, no doubt, because we have to compete, we have to sustain, we have to maintain our offices, but it is not the only factor that determines the party's sustainability. More than that, I think it is organizational structure, organizational capabilities, leadership, and also to disallow the general public from losing trust and faith in a particular party. Because as a political party, you are a central feature in terms of the whole democratic process. You are an essential component of democracy. Therefore, you represent people's views, interests, needs, and aspirations. So therefore, you cannot afford to lose any trust of the general public. Yes. That would be one essential component in addition to funding. Then I think the other component which I also mentioned in the Dzongkha section is parties, of course, ruling and opposition are there, but the remaining 3 parties, Chirong, Kinyam, and Nyamrup, also, I feel, warrant continuous engagement in the public domain, in policy decisions, at least in terms of dialogue and discussions, protocol, consultation, so on and so forth. We do not make any demands of state funding or public finance to sustain the party, but we would pledge or request, the PDP General Secretary is here, and of course the deputy representatives are here. If new parties or the parties that have not qualified in the general round, if we are kept continuously engaged in terms of discourse, in terms of public consultation, in terms of decisions, I think it will encourage future parties to also engage, future candidates to also involve, yes, as compared to political parties being actively engaged at the time of election. Once elections are over, parties go into hibernation and then again resurrect 4 years from now. And that will be very difficult to regroup. So therefore, for parties to be continuously involved, I think I would personally want to, or rather request the ruling and the opposition to engage new parties in the daily affairs of whatever policy decisions, consultations, opinions, so on and so forth. Maybe Druk Changa and Suman may have a view.
Mr. Kimasri?
Plus, I totally agree. I think it's very important both for the government and the opposition party to keep engaging with the other parties. I think they have earned the respect and the regard of a substantial population of the voters in Bhutan. And I think here I just want to take this opportunity to make two cases here. One is, of course, on the financing issue. I think it has been elaborated by our colleagues. The other one is, in the earlier session, there has been some view as to why probably party structure is not required at all, and why choppers are also not required. And I think from our experience, just to share with you, as we prepare ourselves to in our role as the opposition party, for example, we have had views coming from the villages and the grassroots level, for example, in terms of some people expressing, oh, okay, maybe in some of the constituencies where our candidates were not able to join with us as the opposition group, now what would happen to the pledges and the commitment that has been made by the opposition party? And I think here the important thing for us is to make sure that I think our colleague has already from the ruling party has clarified that that there is no concern at all, because now here we are looking at one government for the whole nation, and I think that is something that people should be comfortable to be aware of. And so within our party structure now, these are some of the feedbacks we got from the grassroots level, and what we have done internally is for the candidates who have been able to participate as in the opposition team, we have divided the constituencies among ourselves. For example, I have taken Chukha, and then, for example, Gasa, and then probably keep that link with the grassroots Chiwok level people who are passionate about the political process. Not necessarily they're getting paid or anything like that, but they want to be a face of the party and they want to be involved in the process. So I think, therefore, that's very important. At the same time, some other views were saying, for example, now if the first parliament session is being delayed, then will it impact the development process in our village? And I think it's very important we cannot have this kind of dialogue unless we have this informal or formal party machinery present in the Gyogs and in the Chiwoks and the village level session. Okay. So therefore, I think this is the case I wanted to make. On the financing part, as again earlier somebody has pointed out, it's not so much to pay the coordinators, but I think we need to have a structure where some of the data has to be there. At the Gyog level, demographic data is different. At the Gyog level, some of the needs are different. And I think the government and local government has the data, but at the same time, I think party machinery has to have the data in order to facilitate alternative policy, in order to facilitate alternative action plans. So I think these two cases I really wanted to sort of submit.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, we have next caller online. Hello, Ola. Hello, Ola.
Hello.
Please introduce yourself.
Good evening. My name is Chikudukpa. I'm calling from Thimpula.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chikudukpa.
As usual, I don't have the questions, but I think I have some answers for the kind of discussions that is being held today.
No, sir.
I think today the talk is on the sustainability of the party, and I think from the experience of the first parliamentary election, I think the two parties incurred very heavy debts.
Yes,
and the simple answer is that I think both the PTP and the DPT, in my opinion, invested so much on the party workers. I think that's where they spent so much, and I think that's the main reason. And in my opinion, I think it's absolutely not necessary to open the party offices all around the country. I think if there's one contact point, like in Thimphu, I think that is more than enough. That's my opinion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chikudukpa. Amlili, what do you think? I'll come to People's Democratic Party after Amlili's answer. One issue that he mentioned was invested so much on the chokpas. Amlili, what do you think?
I agree with the caller that a lot of resources we do end up spending on chokpas. So one of the reasons why we couldn't perform well was also because we didn't have huge amount of resources at hand to be able to afford large number of choppers. But having said that, in continuation to what you were asking our colleague from Kinyam, we do have a small debt to be cleared, and we are currently working on clearing our liabilities. It's not as huge as the two parties back in 2008, but we also do have some liabilities that needs to be cleared. And I also totally agree with the Honorable President from Kinyam that we do hope while while we may not have won the election, we are representing certain sections of the society, and we do hope that the two party in power, the national party in power, will continue to engage the newer parties in policy dialogue and consultation, and also, facilitate our participation in the political process.
No need of chokpas, no need of offices, because that's going to only incur lots of resources to be put into establishing offices in all 20 Dzongkhas. Would you agree, La? As long as you have a good mobile network, you work through telephone. Is it going to work?
I think maintaining offices is important because we need to have some contact point in different Dzongkhas. And chokpas may also be necessary, but probably voluntary chokpas if that's possible, because we do need some contact point at the grassroots.
Yes. Yes. People's Democratic Party, what do you think? Do we need chokpas? One issue that been raised, that has been raised during Dzongkha session. Now, if we do not have chokpas, who is going to own the party?
Yes.
Is it just the 47 candidates that will contest the elections and then finish it after that?
Yes.
And one is, you have invested so much on your chokpas, that's why you incur lots of debts.
Let's, in everything in life, even with the development of the country, the most important thing that you need to look at is how do you balance. The balanced approach is the best approach. In our Buddhist wisdom, we call it middle way. And that's the best approach. As far as the first election is concerned, it was the first time we were getting to election, and we made many mistakes. One of them was we had a lot more time to be on the campaign trail. So that incurred a lot more expenses. Also, like both the parties, I think we went quite wild on recruiting a lot more chokpas than necessary. After some time, I think it became quite competitive.
Yes.
So I think we've learned from that mistake, and we went through that painful phase after 2008. And so today, in this election, we have been very, very conservative. And I can also say, together with the president of Kunyam, that People's Democratic Party has no debts from the 2013 elections. With regard to sharing of ideas and getting together and being in touch with each other, that kind of a platform, I totally agree with all my colleagues here.
Yes.
I think we need to do that in the interest of the nation. This election showcased the kind of people we have in this country, dynamic, young, smart people in every party. So if we can all bring ourselves together and find a common goal and purpose to move our country forward, I think nothing can stop us. And I think this is one thing that we have to promote. But I think like for BKP and DCT, you shouldn't just wait for somebody to take the lead. Maybe yours should come up with the lead, with an idea, and then we'll actively participate in it. So that is an offer that I can offer from my side as the Secretary General of PDP. With regard to the party structure, as you said, we need chokpas. We need financial supporters. We need people's support from the grassroots. Especially as the ruling party, we need that. We need to stay in touch with our base, stay in touch with the grassroots, so that we know where we are going wrong, what we need to do, if we are going on the right path. That thing has to be there, and for that, we need that party structure. But as I said earlier, we need to find that balance as to how far we go down to the grassroots. So that's important. As far as the money is concerned, I think as, one thing is to, if you really have a clear path, if you really have an ideology that people can really believe in, people can really subscribe to, I think people will come with whatever resources they can manage.
Yes, sir.
And so that support, I feel that it will all depend on your ideology, on your plan for the country, and then on how do you perform as a ruling government.
Okay.
So I think it's all coming together that will help us.
Yes, sir. Another caller on line. Hello, hola. Hello, hola.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Mr. Pema Nobula.
Okay.
I'm calling from Temple. I'm an ex-investigation officer at the ACC.
Okay.
It's just been a few months I've resigned from ACC. And to be very straight, my question towards It's not my question, it's just my opinion, since I'm living abroad for further studies for Masters in Anti-Corruption Studies. My concern is that I'm not asking a question to any of the authorized agency or any of the political parties, since I find one of the parties also missing from the thing. But my question is nothing related to the election process or anything, but my very question is that, can any one of you tell me or estimate the date of the transition of the core of ACC to its independent autonomy? What I'm, in simple terms, in a layman term, I'm just trying to tell, can anyone of you tell me the day or when what approach is being made by the parties to delete the Anti-Corruption Commission from the government, since the topmost priority of my supervisor, Dashwamnit, and my ex-supervisor is to delete from government. And my concern is because since Doji Shorin, I respect her a lot, and
Well, I think,
she was the commissioner, ex-commissioner of ACC.
Sir,
So
hello,
I find
Mr.
a big
Pemanovu.
conflict of interest.
Mr. Pemanovu, thank you so much for your question.
It's not a formal complaint. It's just,
Mr. Pemanovu, thank you so much for your question. I'm so afraid that this is not the relevant forum for your question. As said earlier, we would like to focus our discussion on the topic that we have chosen for the debate. If we go here, there are lots of issues that are going to crop up, and we will never come to a conclusion for this debate. So I think I'll not let anyone answer this question, but rather move on with our discussion. What about Kunyam? We're talking about establishing offices in the Dzongkha. If that be the case, then where are you going to pull in resources? It's important that we have established offices so that party structure are maintained, and then we have people taking ownership not just from the headquarters but even in the Dzongkha, saying, okay, this is our party and we would like to function the way it should be. Basing it just on the ideology, the manifesto that parties have, and if you expect for voluntary contributions from your supporters, I think unless you have something to bait on to, people would not have the same kind of commitment they should have for being paid. What do you think?
Well, theoretically or ideally speaking, it is to one's favor if you have party offices in all the 20 Dzongkhas. In fact, by law, one is mandated to have party offices in all the 20 Dzongkhas. But on a practical note, it is far easier said than done because it entails a lot of resources. It is more than Dzongkhang offices, it's even difficult to maintain a secretariat here because 5 years, as I said earlier, is a long time. I would like to really work on research in terms of trying to, as Druk Changa was saying earlier, study the demographics, study the trends, provide alternative views to the ruling and the opposition. So it entails resources and time. So it's difficult. But I'd like to move away from this component and discuss, focus more on the sustainability. One key factor to sustain parties in the future is also to provide them equal ownership, as you just brought out, not just from the grassroots, but even in the center.
Yes.
A large number of members should have equal stake in the party as compared to coming out in the 11th hour or in the 4th year or in the 5th year. If we have quite a handful of people having equal ownership or equal stake in terms of time, ideas, investments, so on and so forth, then the party sustainability is more assured in terms of disallowing it from being disintegrated, as compared to having a few number of core people and then you bringing in the majority at the last minute. The level of stake or ownership or concern it varies. So I think that's very important. I'm not sure whether my colleagues agree here or not, but I think that's very important as far as Kenyam is concerned.
Okay, Deputy, would you agree?
Yes, actually that's one of the challenges that we are also currently facing. As I shared earlier, we have a lot of competent and highly experienced colleagues with a lot of multi-skilled, and they have been in the past been participating in the parliament as members from the respective constituencies. And those who are not able to participate now, what option is there for them? And I think at that advanced level of age as well as skill, sometimes it's very difficult to match the job availability, the employment opportunity that that is available in the market. So I think sometimes that is a challenge. So for a potential candidate, I think the basic necessity is, of course, to find the next employment rather than to sort of be attached with the party and see how they can take it through for the next 4 to 5 years till the next election. So I think this is some of the challenges that we hopefully will be able to collectively discuss with our colleagues here, and then collectively and then also approach the ruling government and see whether there's an option available there with the help of the ruling government to see if there's an alternative employment or alternative opportunity for them to go for further studies. And I think that's very important. I think that is something that which all the parties can collectively contribute to Shunwe, because in the time of need, in the hour of need, we have seen that all the parties coming together and releasing their candidates. For example, we had from DCT releasing their candidates to help the other parties. So I think this is something we need to come up with a solution.
Okay. Not just the party's sustainability, but you are also talking about one of the key components, candidates.
Yes.
How are they going to continue? That will come back. But before that, let's take another call. Hello. 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 We have a caller online. Hello, sir, please introduce yourself. And as said earlier, please stick to the discussion, the topic that we have for discussion.
Yeah, okay. Good evening. I'm Jigme Wangdi calling from Parul.
Yes, sir.
Actually, my question is, I would like to put question on the general point of view to all the four political party who are standing right here now.
Yes, sir.
Actually, my question is, after coming over from the elections, what are the advantages that all the four political parties, by establishing their different offices in all different Dzongkhas, that they gain?
No, sir. No, sir. Is that it, sir?
Is my question clear?
Yes, very clear. Thank you so much. Lily, what are the advantages that you would see in having established offices in all the Dzongkhas? Because you did touch on this earlier.
First of all, I think it's a requirement as per ECB rules and regulation. And secondly, I think it gives us connected to our supporters in different Dzongkhas. So if somebody had an issue to be addressed, that person can visit our office, and that office can facilitate that information to the secretariat here. Yes. So it's more for channel of communication.
Yes. Sir, briefly.
On that, I think the other thing is the regulation has been put there for a purpose, and that is to also see the commitment of the party, because I don't think we will be able to encourage sort of briefcase party where just during the election, I think my earlier colleagues have shared their view. Just during the election, the parties are formed, and then after that it disappears. So I think the physical presence of the parties in every Dzongkha, if possible, is necessary so that people can connect with the face of the party at that district level. So I think it's very important.
Yes, sir. For continuity, you're not just talking about the party, but even the candidates. Those candidates who made to the parliament as members of parliament, nothing to discuss about them. But those who could not make it to the parliament, what about them? Now, for the ruling party, I think it's easier because you can take care of their needs, is what people believe. But for the parties who could not even make it through to the general elections, they have all 47 candidates who left their jobs, hoping that there will be some possibilities or opportunities around. What is going to happen to them if you're talking about continuity?
Firstly, in terms of our candidates who didn't make it, we have offered them to work in our office, in the party office, and to further strengthen our party.
Voluntarily or?
We'll have to find that. It will all depend on how much resources we can mobilize.
Yes.
Now, with regard to the candidates who didn't make it from the other parties, as I always said in the beginning, and as it's our party's stand that the government is for the government of the country, not just PDP. So we would, I think, as we all love our country, and we all want our country to move forward. And wherever you find bright, students or people who, who can contribute to the nation, and who can, who are, deserving, I think it will go by that. If they are deserving, I think we don't want to differentiate between which supporter, which party they supported or which party they belong to. We don't want to do that over the next 4.5 years. I think we have to have that, because as a small country, our survival as a survival is dependent on that we stay together as a nation, as one people, and we move forward with one common purpose to make Bhutan what it can be in next 5-10 years.
Yes, sir. Lily, as mentioned earlier by Honorable President of Bhutan Kyunyam Party, you are talking about candidates or members coming way ahead of election period and joining with the party and working together to progressively then get yourselves ready for the elections. But this would not really happen, since most of the candidates or the members would also need to take care of their own needs, and that is to be financially stable on their own. Now, unless you do that, you cannot leave your jobs and then join the party way ahead of elections. Keeping this in mind, what have you done, or are you still taking care of your candidates who could not make it through the elections, their needs?
Most of our young candidates who now need to explore other opportunities for themselves, we have deregistered and allowed them to go.
Yes.
But most of the senior candidates are still with the party. I think a committed group is still there within the party, playing a very active role. And these are people who are able to balance between their own personal work and the party activities. So we are largely dependent on this serious group of committed candidates and supporter that continues to support our party.
Yes, sir. Bhutan Kyunyam Party, final words. Politically active and socially engaged, are you going to do that?
Yes, yes. I think it is vital to have a cadre of committed party office bearers, both in the center and in the Dzongkhas. But that is much easier said than done, because it entails a lot of resources, both in terms of finance and time. But having said this, I think we have to really question ourselves in terms of, do we really want to engage in genuine democracy? Do we really want to be worthy of citizens in terms of really trying to form and engage and take forward a political party? So with all those intentions in mind, I think one needs to be blessed with adequate resources, both finance and career and maturity. But nonetheless, I think it is time, if we are to fulfill the wishes of our monarchs, that capable, competent people with blessed resources and a sense of maturity should come out and engage, because it is not an easy industry to be in. A lot of sacrifices, a lot of uncertainties, but nonetheless, I think the country needs it. So on that note, I'd like to wish all my colleagues a good evening, and also BKP supporters out there good evening and Tashidile.
Yes, sir. What about Deputy?
Thank you. Yes, I would like to second the opinion. I think it's up to us now how to sort out these constraints and challenges that the various political parties are facing now to sustain us over the next 5 years till the next election. And hopefully we can create a culture whereby I think by then we would have set the structure, and not only structure but also best practices of party governance, so that we will create a situation where the committed party members and committed candidates, as Amlili has shared, would be actually applying for the job to stand as candidate to parties, and not, the situation now is we go after the candidates and then end up in problems. So I hope that hopefully we can create that situation in due course of time.
Yes, sir. Lily Wangchuk, politically active and socially engaged, not just by waiting for extended invitation from the ruling and opposition parties, but on your own, how would you engage yourself? Are you going to do that?
Lasla, there has been a lot of speculation that DCT may now probably disappear, and I may probably go for an overseas assignment.
Yes.
But I think over the next 5 years, I think people would slowly understand our objectives better, that we were very serious with our motivation of forming a political party and being part of the political process. And over the next 5 years, we do see ourselves continually engaged with both the national parties in power right now, and continually engaged with people that support us. And we are, though we may not have performed well, we're very content that we were part of 2013 elections, and we have drawn valuable experiences and lessons from this experience, that we will only work towards performing better, not only performing better in 2018, but also playing a very active role over the next 5 years, which with time I'm sure it'll be there for everybody to observe. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all the DCT supporters. This is the first opportunity we've had after the election for having believed in us, and DCT will be there for those that believe in us, and for every Bhutanese citizen.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Samjam, sir?
Yes. As far as we're concerned, we want to keep our party structure strong. That's our hope and dreams. Because only by keeping the party structure strong, we want to ensure that the ruling government fulfills all the dreams, hopes, and pledges that we have made to the people. And in order to do that, we have to have a party structure which is strong and reliable. And we would like to pursue that. To what level, it will all depend on how many people support us in terms of resources. But in terms of head office, we already have plans, and we would like to ensure that we are already working on a code of conduct from the party side to ensure that even our ministers, they fulfill their pledges, they work for the nation. So, in terms of all that, we feel that, even for myself, for example, if I feel that my party doesn't work for the nation and they don't fulfill the hopes and aspirations of us also, I would not be in this party.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you so much. With this, we come to the end of our discussion. Bhutan Kinyam Party, Druk Dzongkha, Druk Dzongkha, People's Democratic Party, and of course Mr. Ugen Wangdi, who had your share during the Dzongkha session. Thank you all for being here with us. With this, we come to the end of our program. Thank you so much for watching People's Voice. Good night.